Well, it sounds like
But
you've contributed to kind of this knife culture and knife industry, at least on the production side as a whole. And a lot of people have taken those style cues and functionality cues into what a lot of people are doing now. What are some other ways that Sonny's designs and influences that might have creeped into the industry?
I've seen a lot, and some from some really cool allies. There have been some folks out there that have like immediately recognized some of his stuff. They were doing a seminar. My work, we used to put seminars on for skill based stuff, and there were some knife things, and I wasn't. I think I was sick that day, and when they came in, but I had a knife that I had made with Sonny on my desk, and they immediately were like, "Who is that?" Right? Like who made, like, what's his deal? Where did he come from? Like, and was like very much. And so there are people out there that are into the idea of making making something from nothing, I guess, which is like different than the knife industry as a whole. But it's definitely becoming more prevalent now. I'm seeing guys like there's a huge prevalence of like taking old kitchen knives and doing things now, and that's Sonny and I used to go around to old butcher shops and take all their old stuff like that they didn't want because I was poor, I didn't have money, I couldn't go buy stuff, and we get ones that were almost gone, whittled down, but they have good handles, and like you said, you find the knife in the knife. Two halves of scissors are the beginning of two knives.
Right.
One pair of scissors is two knives just waiting to figure out how to make that. There are now a bunch of stuff out there that there are scissor style knives out there now, and that's like just hitting now. And I believe that mentality is changed dramatically from when I got into the business. It was these big, huge, like enormous, overbuilt things that were neat and they were different and whatever else. But for me, it was a shock. I was like, people are you carrying that? That's a folder and it weighs almost as much as a pistol does. Like that doesn't, what what are you gonna do with that, right? Because it was so, and the cost just killed me. Like I was like, what? Because we'd make our own stuff. I mean, I did. I had one or two expensive things that I bought, but that was a huge deal. You saved up for it, um, and the one of the longest knives I carried was I think it was a Benchmade at the time, but it was the one that Sonny gave a his nod to where he was like, that guy knows, right? And because of that, I carried that longer than probably carried every other knife that I've had, and taking a page out of his book, the sleeve of the jacket that I used to wear when I go to work, I had cut in the collar, cut out a hole so that I could take the pocket clip and drive it down so it would be hidden in there so I could have it right there. So if I had somebody following me, I could pull it out this way and flick the blade open because it was tipped down, and they wouldn't see it. They wouldn't see me doing that. They wouldn't see me reaching for stuff, and that's all part of like the deception. And the coolest part about that is years later, I got to meet that guy because of trade show stuff, and they say don't, like, and he's a very well known guy on the teams, and has been for decades. He was one of the original guys. He's been in books and stuff, and I got to show him that knife, and I did little stuff to it. Like I was really big into grip tape. Like I have knives that have grip tape on them that have had them there for 30 years, and that was part of Sonny, right? Like the whole improving, making that grip rock solid. Like his whole thing was like, make me a knife that I can open my hand and it's not going to fall out, but it's also not latched in, right? It was like the impossible task. And so any way to get close to that, and for me, immediately, right off the bat, like years ago, was grip tape was a huge aid, and so I got to hand that knife back to the guy that designed it 30 years later,
Nice.
and so yeah, I've got to do and see and meet like some really cool people that language all came from sitting at the table, not just training, but sitting at the table and learning how to make what it is that you want, and that was all through Sonny. I never would have thought like, I'm going to go buy a grinder, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that, I'm going to go take this, thing, like start off big cheap, butter knives and machetes used to be $6 a piece or $6 for a couple of them, if you get good ones. And take them and regrind them. Take a machete that's got a 14-inch blade and then grind it down to this, and then do the same thing with the handle. I never would have thought to do stuff like that. So yeah, I own for all that for sure.